Think about the last time you bought a soda from a vending machine.
Oh, okay.
It is basically the purest distillation of retail simplicity, right? You walk up, you see the soda behind the glass, you slide in your money, you press a button, and the machine dispenses the product.
Right. It's a completely clean, frictionless exchange.
Exactly. You want the thing, you buy the thing, you have the thing.
Simple.
But now, imagine walking up to that exact same vending machine. Only this time, the moment you press the button, a metal shutter slams down over the glass.
Oh, man.
Yeah, and a digital timer appears out of nowhere, counting backward from 60 seconds.
Right.
And suddenly you're required to solve, like, this pixelated visual puzzle just to prove you're human.
Well, you're just trying to buy a soda.
Exactly. And while you are doing that, 300 invisible people are attempting to press that exact same button simultaneously from across the globe.
Which is terrifying.
It really is.
Yeah.
And then, after all that, the machine simply eats your money, tells you the soda is sold out, and locks your credit card for 3 days.
I mean, that completely shatters our fundamental expectation of how commerce is supposed to function.
Right.
Like the linear path between supply and demand has just been intentionally severed there.
It has. And that's exactly what we are getting into today. Welcome to our deep dive. Today we are unpacking the intense, high stakes, and frankly maddening world of digital scarcity.
It really is a wild ecosystem.
It's nuts. We are looking at the psychological warfare that brands wage on their most dedicated consumers. And we're going to focus on 2 dominant retail philosophies that currently rule the limited edition collector market.
Right, the 2 big paradigms.
Exactly. So we have the sheer adrenaline-fueled speed of what we're calling the checkout sprint, and on the other side, the mysterious, slow-burn waiting game of the Raffle Roulette.
And, you know, it's important to state up front that these aren't just methods for selling products.
No, not at all.
They're highly engineered behavioral engines. They're designed to leverage human psychology, create artificial friction, and honestly, to manage massive technological loads.
Yeah, and to understand why this matters to you, the listener, you really have to put yourself in the shoes of someone navigating this environment right now.
You have to feel it.
You do. Imagine your pulse is hammering at like 110 beats per minute. You are staring blankly at a computer screen, your posture is completely rigid, and you are feeling a very real sense of existential dread.
Over toys.
Over toys. What is on the line here? We are talking about highly coveted collectibles, like limited-run die-cast metal cars or 4-inch vinyl figures with oversized eyes.
Right. And to anyone completely outside this ecosystem, that level of physical anxiety over a collectible item sounds totally disproportionate.
It sounds absurd.
It does.
Yeah.
But it's crucial to understand that we are not really talking about the items themselves anymore.
No, the item's just the catalyst.
Exactly. We are looking at a hyper-condensed, extremely volatile microeconomy.
Yeah.
The environment these collectors operate in mimics the intensity of Wall Street day trading. I mean, it's complete with the same technological arms races and the exact same emotional volatility.
It's a masterclass in modern retail economics, honestly. And the strategies deployed here are almost certainly going to bleed into the rest of our everyday shopping experiences eventually.
Oh, absolutely. It's inevitable.
So let's look at the first dominant model in this space, the pure, unadulterated checkout sprint.
The adrenaline rush.
Right. This is the paradigm typified by platforms like the Hot Wheels Redline Club.
Or the RLC, as it's known in the community.
RLC, right.
Yeah, so the Redline Club is essentially Mattel's premium membership tier. It acts as the gateway to their most exclusive, limited production runs.
Okay, so let's break down the actual mechanics of the sprint.
Let's do it.
It's precisely 1 minute before the drop. Let's call it 4:59 p.m.
Okay.
You are sitting at your desk. You have multiple browser tabs open, presumably running on a hardwired fiber optic internet connection to minimize latency.
Because every millisecond counts.
Exactly. And you are doing nothing but staring at a digital countdown timer, slowly ticking down to 0.
The buildup of kinetic energy in that single minute is just immense.
It really is.
I mean, you have thousands of individuals perfectly synchronized, all focusing their collective attention on a single digital threshold.
And the stakes for this specific drop. You are doing all of this high-tech preparation, utilizing premium broadband infrastructure, just to try and secure a 1.64 scale 1972 Datsun 240Z.
Right.
And the retail price is $30.
And that's the thing, the contrast between the intense high-tech preparation and the relatively low barrier to entry for the item itself is what makes this so accessible.
Yeah, $30 isn't a lot.
Right, and therefore it becomes so highly trafficked, anyone can afford the $30, but not everyone can win the race.
Right. So the clock finally strikes 5:00 p.m. The countdown disappears and the add to cart button instantly turns red.
Time to go.
You click it, but you do not get the car. Instead, your momentum just hits a brick wall.
The first choke point.
You are immediately thrown into the first major hurdle, the Cloudflare Chap TCHA.
Right, and this is where the retail experience actively becomes adversarial.
Totally adversarial.
The system introduces this arbitrary friction point right when you're trying to give them your money.
It's infuriating. You get a prompt that says, please select all squares containing a crosswalk.
Oh, I hate those.
Everyone hates them. But the image provided isn't some crisp 4K photograph. It is so incredibly pixelated and compressed, it looks like it was taken on a 1998 Game Boy camera.
That's a perfect description.
You are sitting there with adrenaline dumping into your system, staring at a blurry white block, trying to guess if it's a crosswalk, a stripe on a zebra, or just artifacting in the image.
Right, you're second-guessing reality.
You click a few boxes and you just pray the algorithm accepts your interpretation of the crosswalk.
And we have to ask why the image is so degraded.
Right, why is it so bad?
Well, it's not a glitch. It is entirely by design.
Wait, really?
Yeah, because as machine learning and image recognition bots have become incredibly sophisticated, they can easily solve clear, high-definition CAPI-TCHs.
Oh, wow. Okay, that makes sense.
Right, so the security providers have to rely on increasingly ambiguous, low-fidelity images, where human intuition is the only thing that works.
Like our ability to recognize context in a blurry mess.
Exactly. That's the only thing that can pass the test.
Yeah.
But ironically, it makes the human feel like they are failing a machine's test.
That is a brilliant point. The worse the bots get, the worse the images have to be for us.
Unfortunately, yes.
So, assuming you survive the blurry crosswalk, you think you're clear.
But you aren't.
Not at all. You actually just transition into a psychological torture chamber, which is the virtual queue.
Oh, the queue.
Your screen stops loading and simply displays calculating estimated wait time.
You've been moved into the digital holding pen?
Your heart rate skyrockets. You are just staring at a little bouncing loading bar. 1 minute goes by. 2 minutes go by.
Just agonizing.
And you're sitting in complete, isolated silence in your physical room, but digitally. The environment is deafening.
Oh yeah, your phone is blowing up.
Exactly. Discord notifications from collector communities are just flooding in.
This creates a fascinating dissonance, you know.
How so?
Well, your immediate interface, the checkout screen, is static and unresponsive, but your secondary channels are overflowing with real-time, chaotic data.
Right. You are totally frozen, but other collectors in the chat are screaming. Someone types, "I'm in, I got one."
Which just adds to the panic.
Someone else shouts, "Order confirmed." And then you see the dreaded message from someone else. "I got error code 504.
Oh, brutal. Which is an HTTP status code indicating a gateway timeout.
What does that actually mean for the user?
It basically means the server entirely failed to respond to that user's request due to overwhelming traffic. They're just kicked out.
It feels like trying to survive a digital gladiator arena, except instead of a sword, you are armed with a computer mouse.
And you're fighting for a toy car.
Right. Why do people willingly subject themselves to this acute stress? It seems completely counterintuitive to the concept of a leisurely hobby.
Well, if we look at this through the lens of behavioral psychology, the checkout sprint operates as a highly tuned dopamine engine.
Okay, a dopamine engine.
Yeah. It relies heavily on a concept known as the illusion of agency.
The illusion of agency. So, I feel like I have control over whether I get this car or not.
Precisely. In a true sprint, you believe your actions directly dictate the outcome.
Because I did the work.
Right. You checked your internet connection, you clicked the button within milliseconds, you solved the KPTCHA perfectly.
Yeah.
If you succeed, and that order confirmation screen loads, it feels like a pure meritocracy. You feel dominant.
Like I won the race?
Exactly. It's the digital modern equivalent of successfully hunting a massive animal and bringing it back to the village.
That's hilarious, but it makes so much sense.
The physiological arousal, you know, the elevated heart rate, the focused attention it all serves to radically amplify the eventual dopamine release when you win. You didn't just buy a toy, you earned it.
So because the struggle and the friction were so intense, the psychological reward for clearing those hurdles feels massive.
Exactly. But that illusion of agency has an incredibly dark counterpart.
I can imagine.
Because if you deeply believe you are in control, and then the system fails you...
The anger is immediate, and it is explosive.
Exactly.
When you sit in that queue for 7 minutes, you finally get to the payment screen, and a little text box pops up saying, "Item in your cart is sold out." You want to throw your monitor out the window.
It's devastating.
You feel cheated out of a victory that you genuinely believe you earned through your speed and vigilance.
And that frustration is compounded when the user realizes that their agency was, in fact, an illusion.
Because they aren't just racing other humans.
I'm not even close.
Which brings us to the reality of the digital adversary. This uneven playing field completely destroys the idea of a fair race. We are talking about sophisticated reseller bots.
The real enemy in this ecosystem.
And to be clear to the listener, these aren't just simple browser extensions that autofill your name and address.
Oh, no.
We are talking about custom Python scripts and headless browsers.
Let's define what that actually means, because the architecture here is vital.
Yeah, break that down for us.
So, a headless browser is essentially a web browser that operates without a graphical user interface.
So it's like Chrome, but without the visual part of Chrome.
Exactly. When you or I load a web page, our computer spends valuable milliseconds downloading images, rendering CSS style sheets, and drawing the visual layout on the screen so we can actually read it.
Which takes time.
Right. A headless browser skips all of that. It interacts directly with the underlying code of the website at lightning speed, drastically reducing the time it takes to navigate from a product page to a checkout confirmation.
And these bots are utilizing networks of thousands of proxies too, right?
Yes. That's the other half of the strategy.
So instead of the website seeing one person trying to buy 500 items from a single house in Ohio,
the bot routes its traffic through thousands of different IP addresses globally.
Wow. So the server thinks it's dealing with 500 distinct humans.
It is an absolute technological mismatch. It's asynchronous warfare.
The statistics are incredibly stark. Against these setups, a regular human clicking a mouse manually stands about a 10% chance on a high-demand drop.
Just 10%.
A 10% chance.
Yeah.
You are entering a race against an opponent who can basically run at the speed of light.
And once the collector community recognizes this mathematical reality that the game is structurally rigged by automation, the frustration reaches a boiling point.
Naturally.
The platform is essentially forcing its most loyal customers to endure a traumatic user experience just to inevitably lose to a reseller script.
And this leads to a highly controversial corporate solution. Mattel, to use our primary example, introduced a premium bypass system called the RLC Overdrive Club.
This is a fascinating pivot in retail strategy.
Right.
They're moving from a model of equal access friction to a tiered, monetized bypass.
So here's how it works. On top of your regular base-level Redline Club membership fee, you can choose to pay an additional upfront annual subscription fee.
An extra cost.
Right. And what do you get in exchange for this extra cash? Automated, guaranteed fulfillment for every major release of the calendar year.
You are literally buying your way out of the digital arena.
Exactly. No sitting at your desk at 4:59 p.m., no pixelated crosswalk Cappy TCHAs, no heart palpitations.
None of it.
Someone utilizing this tier could be out having a leisurely lunch, totally away from their computer, and 20 minutes after the drop goes live, they simply receive a pleasant email notification confirming their item has been secured.
It just magically happens.
They didn't lift a single finger.
From a convenience standpoint, it is flawless. But economically and sociologically, it introduces a massive rift within the consumer base.
It completely splits the community in two. You have the VIPs who paid the toll, and then you have everyone else still fighting in the mud.
What we are observing is the formalization of a pay-to-win ecosystem.
Pay-to-win ecosystem. That sounds familiar to anyone who plays video games.
Exactly the same concept. Think about the structural reality of what happens to the regular stock pool once that VIP overdrive quota is fulfilled off the top.
Right, let's run the numbers. Let's say there are 30,000 units of a car produced.
Okay. And let's say 10,000 people bought the overdrive pass.
Got it.
Before the countdown timer even hits 0 for the general public, 1/3 of the total global inventory has already been mathematically allocated and removed from the board.
Oof, just gone.
The standard users, the ones who either couldn't afford the premium pass or missed the window to buy it, they are left fighting over a vastly diminished pool of remaining inventory.
It takes that incredibly bleak 10% human chance we talked about earlier and squeezes the margins even tighter.
Significantly tighter.
And honestly, looking at this model from an economic fairness perspective, isn't the brand essentially just monetizing a structural problem that they themselves created?
Oh, absolutely.
Like, they build a digital storefront where bots run rampant, they make the manual checkout process a complete nightmare, and then they turn around and offer the consumer a premium product simply to buy peace of mind from that nightmare.
It's very cyclical.
It feels like a localized protection racket.
It's a textbook example of artificial friction creating a secondary market for convenience.
Wow.
By failing to solve the bot problem technologically, they've artificially generated a highly lucrative market for the solution.
It's kind of genius in a dark way.
From a profit maximization standpoint, it is brilliant. They secure capital upfront and guarantee sell-through.
Right.
But it absolutely breeds structural resentment among the core fan base who feel they are being priced out of participating fairly.
Okay, so that is the brutal high-speed reality of the sprint model. Let's pivot across the retail landscape and examine the second major paradigm.
Let's do it.
We are leaving the adrenaline of Hot Wheels behind and stepping into the system often utilized by Funko Pop and major sneaker applications like Nike SNKRS.
The sneakerheads know this one all too well.
Oh, they definitely do. This model is especially prevalent for massive convention drops, like exclusives tied to San Diego or New York Comic-Con. We are talking about the Raffle Roulette.
An entirely different psychological and architectural approach.
Night and day.
If the sprint is about kinetic energy, the raffle is about potential energy and really suspended animation.
Contrast this directly with everything we just discussed. In this system, speed means absolutely nothing.
Which immediately neutralizes the primary weapon of the reseller bot.
Right, because they can't use their speed.
Exactly. If clicking a button in 10 milliseconds doesn't give you priority over someone who clicks it 10 hours later, the headless browsers lose their tactical advantage.
So let's walk through the mechanics of the e-lottery ballot system step by step.
Sure.
It starts off remarkably polite and civilized. There's no frantic 5:00 p.m. countdown where the servers catch on fire.
No rushing.
Instead, the company opens a registration window that lasts for an extended period, say 48 hours.
Ample time for global participation. It is a democratization of access in a way.
You log into your account at your complete leisure. You browse the catalog of exclusive items. Maybe you select a highly sought-after piece limited to just 1,500 units worldwide.
Take your time, pick what you like.
Right. You add it to your ballot, and you simply click a button that says, Enter Draw.
It sounds incredibly humane.
It really does.
Almost relaxing compared to the gladiator arena.
It does, until you hit the mechanism known in the lexicon as the EFC trap.
Ah, the EFC trap.
The electronic funds confirmation.
Ah.
Because the platform knows that without speed, bots will pivot to volume.
Right, they adapt.
A bot writer might not be able to click fast, but they can program a script to create 5,000 fake accounts and enter the draw 5,000 times to overwhelm the odds.
So the platform requires a financial tether to prove humanity and intent.
Exactly. To enter the draw, you must provide a valid credit card up front.
Makes sense.
But it's not just a verification check where they ping the card to see if it's active.
Yeah, no, it's much more aggressive than that.
The moment you hit enter, the payment gateway places a pre-authorization hold on your funds for the absolute full amount of the items you selected, plus estimated shipping and taxes.
We really need to explain what a pre-authorization hold actually does at the banking level, because a lot of people misunderstand this.
Yeah, please break that down.
Okay, so the merchant sends a request to your bank asking, does this person have $50?
Right.
The bank says yes, and then quarantines that $50.
Quarantines it.
Right. The money hasn't officially left your account yet, but your available balance drops.
So you can't touch it.
You absolutely cannot spend that money on anything else. It is locked in escrow.
And let's look at the specific math of this trap. Say you enter the draw for 4 exclusive figures at $30 each. Boom. $120.
Plus taxes and shipping.
Right, plus 30 in taxes, and shipping $150 of your actual real-world liquid capital is frozen immediately.
And here is where the temporal stress of the sprint is replaced by financial stress.
The multi-day radio silence. You enter this draw on a Tuesday morning, but the drawing itself isn't scheduled until Friday afternoon.
Just waiting.
During this entire 72-hour window, your money is completely inaccessible to you. If you multiply that $150 by hundreds of thousands of entrants,
The numbers get staggering.
you realize the consumers are collectively providing these massive corporations with an astronomical interest-free loan for 3 days, while everyone just sits around twiddling their thumbs.
It is an agonizing state of suspended animation. The company holds all the cards, literally and figuratively.
You find yourself checking your mobile banking app every 2 hours.
Just refreshing the app.
Just staring at a grayed-out pending charge, wondering if it's going to turn green or vanish.
It's awful.
It is perfectly analogous to waiting for a text back after a mediocre first date. You have no idea where you stand, and you were just left hanging in the wind.
And then finally, the 48-hour window closes, the algorithm runs, and we reach Friday. The resolution.
There are 2 possible outcomes from this digital black box. Scenario A is pure bliss. You check your bank, and that pending charge has officially converted into a completed, settled transaction.
You won.
A few minutes later, an email chimes in, "Congratulations, winner," complete with tracking information.
The tension is released favorably. Your locked capital has been exchanged for the asset.
But Scenario B is incredibly cold.
It's the silent treatment.
You check your banking app, and the pending charge has simply vanished. It quietly disappears without a trace.
No fanfare.
No immediate notification either. A couple of hours later, the system eventually generates a generic, boilerplate rejection email. "Sorry, you were not selected this time."
And to add insult to the rejection, the release of the quarantine funds isn't always instantaneous.
Not at all. Depending on the specific policies of your bank or credit union, it can take another 24 to 72 hours for that hold to officially clear and for the funds to actually reflect back in your available balance.
Which is a huge problem.
You could lose the raffle on a Friday and not have access to your own money to buy groceries until Monday afternoon.
What's truly fascinating here, beyond the financial logistics, is the total lack of transparency regarding how the winners are actually chosen.
Right, the algorithm itself.
When we analyze the mysterious black box algorithm running the e-lottery, it is a masterclass in generating paranoia through unknown variables.
Because nobody outside the company's engineering team actually knows how the weighting works.
Exactly. Is it truly a flat, random number generator where every single entry has the exact same mathematical probability?
Like drawing a name from a hat.
Right. Or does the algorithm favor older accounts to reward historical loyalty? Does it look at your purchase history and favor regular customers who buy common, non-limited items off their site year-round?
The lack of clear public rules breeds intense speculation. There is this maddening scenario that constantly circulates in collector circles.
I think I know the one you mean.
Imagine a collector who convinces a friend to create a brand new account, an account that is just 3 weeks old, with 0 purchase history.
Yeah.
That friend enters their first ever raffle, and they somehow win the ultra-rare 1 of 500 Freddy Funko Grail.
Let's define Grail for a moment, just so we're on the same page.
Good idea.
In the lexicon of collecting, a Grail is the apex item. It is a highly coveted, exceptionally rare piece that is incredibly difficult to acquire and usually commands a massive premium on the secondary market.
Right, it's the holy grail. So the 3-week-old account hits the jackpot and secures the grail.
Beginner's luck.
Meanwhile, you have a 6-year veteran of the platform, a dedicated fan who has spent thousands of dollars organically over the years, who promotes the brand, who interacts with their social media. They enter that exact same draw and they go 0 for 5. They get absolutely nothing.
Which demonstrates how the Raffle Roulette system systematically dismantles any sense of progressive achievement.
It's brutal.
It is a completely transactional relationship, totally devoid of sentimentality.
So we have these 2 wildly different architectural systems. One relies on a chaotic manual race against machines, and the other relies on locking up your money and trusting a faceless algorithm.
Pick your poison.
Let's weigh the pros and cons of both paradigms head to head. Speed versus randomness.
It is the ultimate stress test of digital consumer models.
Let's evaluate them on security first. In the battle of fairness and anti-bot measures, the raffle system objectively, structurally wins.
It does, because it leverages time as its primary defense mechanism.
Also,
Well, when a platform uses the sprint model, the backend servers have milliseconds to decide if an incoming request is a human or a bot before the inventory is gone.
right.
That is an incredibly narrow window for a security system to operate. Mistakes are going to happen.
But the raffle gives the company days.
Precisely. By extending the window to 48 hours, the company is granted the luxury of asynchronous verification. They don't have to decide instantly.
They can take their time.
They can take that massive database of entries and run extensive, deep-level fraud checks. They can cross-reference shipping addresses to see if 500 accounts are all trying to route packages to the same suburban house.
They can also look at the credit card data much more closely, right?
Yes, absolutely. They can analyze the BIN numbers, the bank identification numbers.
What does that tell them?
The first 6 digits of a credit card reveal exactly what kind of card it is. The platform can instantly filter out thousands of entries that are using prepaid Visa gift cards or known virtual card generators, often favored by bot farms trying to spoof multiple identities.
Oh, that makes sense.
From a pure security and logistics standpoint, the Raffle is a vastly superior defense against automation.
Okay, so the Raffle wins on security. And on the surface, it seems to win on user experience and convenience too.
In theory.
Right? You don't have to fake a doctor's appointment to skip work at 11:00 a.m. on a Tuesday to stare at a cue screen. You can enter the draw while riding the subway or making dinner or watching TV.
But that convenience is a dangerous double-edged sword when we introduce the actual financial toll of the EFC hold.
We really have to counter that convenience with the massive real-world drawbacks of what we call financial limbo. The impact this has on young collectors or anyone operating on a strict budget is severe.
It locks people out of the hobby.
Imagine it as a major summer convention weekend. The brand is dropping 10 different exclusive items. Trying to enter all 10 raffles to maximize your chances might require tying up $400 or $500 of liquid capital on your debit card.
That is a significant amount of capital to freeze for a mere opportunity to purchase something.
You are literally freezing your rent money or your grocery budget for days with absolutely zero guarantee that you are actually going to receive a single product.
It creates an artificial barrier to entry that is based entirely on liquid capital rather than passion or speed. You are filtering out fans simply because they cannot afford to loan the company $500 for a weekend.
I honestly have to champion the brutal but clean resolution of the sprint here.
Really? You prefer the sprint?
I do. Yes, the sprint is chaotic. Yes, if you miss out on a Hot Wheels drop because of a blurry crosswalk, you are incredibly angry.
True.
But the crucial factor is that you know the outcome of 5 minutes. You get mad, you curse the screen, you close the browser tab, your money never leaves your bank account, and you move on with your day.
The transaction, successful or failed, is finalized rapidly.
Exactly. Imagine applying the Funko financial freeze model to other areas of normal life.
Oh boy.
Imagine trying to buy a concert ticket and Ticketmaster says, sure, put a $500 hold on your credit card right now and we will email you on Friday to let you know if you are actually allowed to attend the show.
People would riot in the streets.
They absolutely would.
Which brings us back to the core psychological concept of control. The sprint, for all of its inherent technological flaws and bot infestations, still offers that illusion of agency.
Right, you feel involved.
You feel that by optimizing your setup, by upgrading your internet, or by practicing CAP-TC8 puzzles, you are actively participating in a meritocracy. You have a hand on the steering wheel.
Yeah.
The Raffle, conversely, completely destroys agency. It strips you of all control. It leaves you entirely at the mercy of a computer program that is fundamentally indifferent to your loyalty, your history, or your passion.
You aren't a fan. You're just a row in a database table.
Exactly. And being reduced to a random variable is profoundly alienating for someone who identifies strongly as a dedicated collector of that brand.
So both systems offer their own unique flavors of psychological torture, which leads us to the crucial part of our deep dive today, the survival guide.
The tactical part.
Because understanding the architecture of these systems is only half the battle. If you are going to participate, you need actionable tactics for actually surviving and winning in these digital arenas.
How to navigate the minefield effectively. Let's look at the actionable protocols from the sources.
First up, let's talk about surviving the speed run. The checkout sprint protocol. Rule number 1, pre-flight checks are absolutely mandatory.
Okay, what does that involve?
You need a dedicated 10-minute prep window before the drop time. You cannot just casually open your laptop at 4:58 p.m.
It requires ritualistic preparation to optimize your digital footprint.
Yes.
What are the specific steps for the pre-flight?
First, you must log out of your account and actively log back in.
Why is that?
This ensures that your session token, The digital wristband the server uses to identify you is completely fresh and won't time out during checkout.
Ah, smart.
Second, you need to clear your browser caches, or better yet, operate in an incognito or private browsing window, so old cookies don't interfere with the live cart sequence.
You are eliminating any potential friction point or corrupted data before the race even begins.
And critically, you must ensure that your shipping address and your billing address match exactly in this system.
This is vital.
It really is.
At the payment gateway level, there is a protocol called AVS, the Address Verification System.
Right.
If you type street in your billing profile, but saint in your shipping profile, the gateway might flag that microscopic discrepancy as potential fraud during a high-velocity drop.
Just because of an abbreviation?
Yes. It will decline your card, and your item will be gone.
So, rule number 2 for the sprint. Express payment options are king. If you're sitting there manually typing 16 credit card digits, an expiration date, and a CVC code during a live drop, you have already lost.
It is a digital death sentence.
Because while you are typing your last name, a headless browser script has already checked out 2,000 times.
Exactly. You must utilize tokenized express methods like Apple Pay, Google Pay, or Shopify Shop Pay.
How do those help?
These methods bypass the standard data entry fields. They rely on pre-authenticated trust, turning a complex multi-step checkout process into a single biometric click or a face scan.
It provides a massive temporal advantage. You're skipping 3 pages of loading screens.
And rule number 3, which is the absolute golden rule of the virtual queue.
Let me guess. Never, ever refresh the page.
You got it.
When you are staring at that screen and it says calculating time, every fiber of your being will tell you the page is frozen.
The anxiety compels you to act, to do something to fix it.
But if you touch that refresh button on a Shopify-based architecture, the server interprets that as a brand new request.
It instantly revokes your current session token, drops you out of your spot, and kicks you to the absolute back of the line.
You have essentially restarted the race from the beginning. You just have to sit on your hands and trust the process.
You have to fight your own psychological impulses. Now, what about the tactics for the slower algorithmic model?
The Raffle protocol. Rule number 1 here is the necessity of a dedicated collector card. Because of that brutal financial limbo and the EFC holds we discussed, you must never, under any circumstances, use your primary everyday checking account debit card for raffle entries.
You have to protect your core liquidity. You cannot risk your essential living expenses.
Exactly. The protocol dictates using a high-limit credit card where a hold won't impact your actual cash flow.
Or a virtual card, right?
Better yet, yes, use a dedicated virtual credit card service. Services that generate unique, temporary card numbers specifically for these transactions.
That's a great strategy.
That way, if $500 is locked up in digital escrow for 3 days, it never touches your actual checking account. Your rent money is completely insulated from the hobby.
You are structurally compartmentalizing the financial risk.
Rule number 2 for raffles. Maintain a clean data footprint. This is a warning about the immense dangers of trying to outsmart the system.
People always try to cheat it.
They get desperate and try to enter the same draw multiple times. If you try to use 3 different email accounts, but you are operating on the same home Wi-Fi network, and you attempt to pay with the same underlying credit card, you're going to trigger modern enterprise anti-fraud systems.
We are talking about sophisticated behavioral analytics tools like SIFT or Fraudify.
Yes. And what happens when you trip their wires is terrifying. They do not send you a warning email.
They don't give you a second chance.
They do not tell you that you broke a rule. They hit you with an invisible, silent shadow ban based on your device fingerprint or your IP address.
Let's explain what that is. A device fingerprint looks at the specific combination of your operating system, their browser version, your screen resolution, and even your installed fonts to identify you uniquely, regardless of what email you type in.
So you can continue to enter draws every single month. The website will load, the button will click, everything looks perfectly normal on your end.
But you will go 0 for life.
0 for life. The system flags your profile as fraudulent, and your entries are silently routed straight into a digital trash can before the algorithm even runs.
The system neutralizes the perceived threat asynchronously without ever alerting the threat that they've been detected.
And finally, rule number 3, the aftermath chill period. This is arguably the most important rule, and it deals entirely with mastering the danger of FOMO.
The fear of missing out.
Let's say scenario B happens. You take a loss on a raffle. The absolute worst financial decision you can make is to immediately open up a secondary market app like eBay or StockX 5 minutes after the rejection emails go out and panic buy the item at a massive markup.
Because that is the exact moment when the secondary market is operating purely on emotion and theoretical scarcity rather than actual supply.
Exactly. Why is it so economically dangerous to buy immediately?
Well, think about the logistics. Right after a drop concludes, the people who lost are operating in a state of high anxiety and desperation.
Right.
But critically, the people who actually won the drop haven't even received the physical items yet.
Oh, true. They just got an email.
The platform still has to pack and ship them. So the secondary market is starved for actual physical product.
Yeah.
The only things being sold are theoretical pre-orders. But if you practice discipline and wait 2 to 3 weeks...
The physical items finally arrive on the doorsteps of all the winners simultaneously.
Precisely. And what happens when thousands of units hit the market on the exact same day? It generates a localized supply shock. Suddenly, there's a massive influx of physical inventory available for sale. The resellers, who are often heavily leveraged and desperate to liquidate their stock to free up their own capital for the next drop, begin to aggressively undercut each other's prices.
That's basic supply and demand taking over. As the supply floods in, the price crashes.
According to historical data, this localized influx causes secondary market prices to plummet by 30 to 50% from their immediate post-drop highs.
That's a huge discount just for being patient.
By simply mastering your emotions and instituting a mandatory 3-week cool-off period, you drastically reduce the financial penalty of losing the initial retail drop. That localized supply shock is the critical vulnerability in the reseller's business model.
It sounds exactly like strict cybersecurity protocols and high-level financial trading strategies. And we are applying all of this discipline to buying toys.
It is the exact same risk management and psychological discipline applied to a microeconomy.
Which brings us to finding some perspective and grounding in all this madness. The emotional core of our deep dive today is a necessary reminder of why people engage in this in the first place.
It's supposed to be fun.
Right. Whether you are violently smashing your mouse button to beat a blurry cap TCHA, or anxiously waiting days for an opaque algorithm to release your funds. Fundamentally, these are supposed to be hobbies.
They are meant to be an escape, an enhancement to your daily life, an expression of joy, not a source of misery or systemic stress.
Exactly. The moment a digital drop causes you genuine physiological anxiety, the moment it ruins your Tuesday afternoon because a server timeout kicks you out of line, or the moment it creates actual tangible financial strain because your capital is locked up.
That's the limit.
That is the definitive signal that the architecture has won, and it is time to step back and close the laptop.
It is about recognizing the point of diminishing returns on your own mental and financial well-being.
The secondary market will always be there. Local trade events and conventions exist, and fundamentally, in the world of retail, there will always be another drop next week.
The machine is designed to keep producing.
Do not let the engineered fear of missing out rule your life or dictate your emotional state.
Truly wise words to insulate oneself from the psychological warfare of the scarcity model.
But I want to leave you with a final provocative thought to ponder on your own. A thought that builds on everything we have unpacked regarding these retail architectures today.
Because these systems rarely stay confined to niche hobbies.
Think about this. If these highly effective, stress-inducing, scarcity-driven models, the gamified adrenaline-pumping sprint, and the financially locking algorithmic raffle, if they work so brilliantly and so profitably for selling collectible toys, how soon until we see this exact illusion of agency and this exact financial limbo normalized and deployed for essential, everyday services and goods in the broader retail economy?
A chilling extrapolation. When the technology is proving, the application expands.
Because remember that simple, frictionless vending machine we talked about at the very beginning? The one where you just put your money in and get exactly what you want when you want it.
It might be broken forever.
It just might be.